Welcome to 4,000 Weeks, the weekly audio dispatch from 4kweeks.com. I am Spencer, your sometimes intrepid host on this journey of squeezing every ounce of life and learning that you can out of these, your very finite weeks. It is week 22 of the year 2025. And the first thing that I owe you is the dad joke of the week. I will leave the setup up here, and then we'll get to the punchline at the end. What do you call a priest that has become a lawyer? What do you call a priest that has become a lawyer? Week 22 of 2025 has arrived, and with it, graduations, graduation parties, yearbook signings, open sunroofs. Yearbook signings reminds me of have a great summer. Just when somebody didn't know you that well, didn't know what to say, they wrote, have a great summer in your yearbook. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I do. The possibility of a new season. Every single minute is ripe with new possibilities if you only will take the opportunity to stop and look for them. It's time for you to walk over to your 4K Weeks poster and fill in another square. Are you done? Let's see. I'll do it right here for me. I am grabbing the Sharpie. I am filling in my square. Only a few more squares until my 48th birthday. There we go. The difference between who you are and who you will be can be predicted in the trend line of your habits. And we're starting a summer push for the 33-Day Foundation. The 33-Day Foundation is the analog streak tracking product that I created for myself so that I could get better at dribbling a basketball, and then I used it to get better at a lot of other things because I had seen the power of streaks in my life to change habits. And there, along with the analog daily tracker that we send you, there's daily emails for support and a member community, member.4kweeks.com, which you can actually join that member community for free, but to fully participate, you have to sign up for the 33-Day Foundation. And I know it works because I built it for myself first, and I want you to try it. And I will guarantee you, I will give you your money back if it does not help you tilt the trend line of your life up and to the right. I will give you your money back seriously if you, after 33 days, are like, this totally wasn't worth it. I think you should bet on yourself. And since I am offering to give you your money back, if you don't think it's worth it, what do you have to lose? I think you should do it. I think you should join us. I think you should give it a shot. So you can get that on our site at 4kweeks.com. Just search for 33-Day Foundation or go to the email. There's a link in the email at the top. Now, I have a question for you. Would you like to hear how I am using ChatGPT to write the vision of our 4 businesses that I'm using it for the next 5 years? If you would like to see that, of course, after you sign up for the 33-Day Foundation, shoot me an email, spencer@4kweeks.com, and ask. And if I get enough responses before next week, before I've sent out the email, I will either record a podcast with an explanation or I will break it down in an email so you can do the same thing. I think someone said this, and then my buddy at Mastermind said it yesterday, quoting someone who I forget. Your job will not be taken by AI. Your job will be taken by someone who can do your job and has a deep understanding of how to use AI to make it better. And I think that's true. And so you should be using artificial intelligence before it takes over the world and destroys us and turns us all into paper clips. Okay, if you have a minute and you think it's valuable, forward this podcast to a friend, subscribe, like it, rate it, review it. Literally, it'll take 30 seconds to click 5 stars on the review thing, and it actually does make a big difference in the reach. And since I'm spending the time doing this, that must mean I think it's important. And if I think it's important, then I should ask you to do the things you can do to spread the reach of the podcast. So that's the best way in the entire world. You can give me an early birthday present by liking, rating, reviewing, or forwarding this podcast. That would be awesome. Week 22 of 1965, Chuck Berry, who many consider the father of rock and roll, opened an amusement park in Missouri called Berryland. Nate Bargatze, if you know the comedian Nate Bargatze, super family-friendly, funny guy, having a moment right now. It's funny, every overnight success takes 10 years. Uh, it was talking about opening a theme park. And so this is really funny to me that Chuck Berry opened Berryland, which, as far as I know, does not exist anymore. I could be wrong. Maybe it's still operating on some forgotten state highway in Missouri. I have lived in Missouri a good portion of my life, and I have never heard of Berryland. He was 2,015 weeks old, or 38.64 years. Berryland. Dollyland is doing pretty well. I don't know. Interesting. Okay, quote of the week. Quote of the week is from Robert Anthony. Forget about all of the reasons why something may not work. You only need to find one good reason why it will. Forget about all the reasons why something may not work. You only need to find one good reason why it will. Robert Anthony. Look, every single success that you have ever had and that you have ever seen is improbable. Your existence is improbable. It's much more likely that things will not work out. It's like the Rube Goldberg machine of the universe. This is insane. That this is working right now is unlikely. It is kind of by definition exceptional. And I don't want to stand here and tell you that these hopes and dreams that you hold deeply in your heart, the ones that you can't bear to barely look at square in the face for fear that they'll disappear and that will break your heart. I'm not going to tell you that they will bring you success this time, because I don't know that to be true, right? This one dream you have right now may just be the next in a long line of false starts and disappointing ends for this chapter of your journey. That's true. And I don't want to lie to you. This could fail, whatever it is. Your most deeply held dream right now could come crashing to the ground. That's a truth. And you have to be able to reconcile with that if you're going to move forward. But I do know this. If you are going to find your success, if you're going to find a success that you dream about, a success that makes you feel like your life is a triumphant song to the universe, like it's the end of a Disney film, it's the magnum opus where the character finally resolves all the struggle and lives into their truth, then you will have to find the courage to keep going, to keep trying, and to wring the life out of this attempt, and then find another reason why something might work, and another reason why something might work, and another reason why something might work. The future belongs to the optimists, not the shorts. The shorts, which is, of course, financial language for people who think that things are about to get worse and fail, they might make money sometimes, but the long-term trend is the people who believe things are gonna get better. And not only is it the only way to actually have a success, but it feels way better too. So get to it. Get to it and get started finding a reason to believe in something. Okay, what I consumed this week. I got some really constructive criticism from a customer, Heather Sager, heathersager.com. That's HeatherSager.com. She is what is her superpower is helping people tell their story. And so her constructive criticism, was about how I tell the story of me as it relates to the brand of 4K Weeks, and specifically the 33-day foundation emails, because in those emails, I'm kind of telling you what to do and how to do it. And she said, basically, you didn't tell us who the hell you are before you start giving us advice. And so, we need a little bit of credibility. And she said it, of course, with much more kindness and professionalism, but the truth remains. And it turns out that she has a podcast, and her superpower is helping people tell their stories. And she recommended a few episodes, and I listened to episodes 41 and 42, and they were great and kind of exactly what I needed to hear about telling the story of me in service of the change I'm trying to make in the world. So you should go check it out. Her podcast, it's called The Ramble, I think. It's called The Ramble. And but you can get them on all the major streams, but also Heather Sager, SAGER.com. Spectacular listening, tons of energy, clearly an amazing public speaker, and has a lot of things to teach people who are interested in that. Next thing I consumed, I read this book It's called The Missing Secret of the Legendary Book, Think and Grow Rich. So this book was recommended to me by my good friend Mitch. Mitch is the reason I play basketball each week. If you want to play basketball with a group of people in your town, you should go to thepickuproject.com. It's coming to a city near you. It's growing, and it's basically just like networking with pickup basketball. Spectacular idea for people who want to stay active. We'll get to, I'll talk about staying active later. And here's the thing about this book. It's terrible. It's a terrible book. It's repetitious. It's so repetitious. It is chock full of simple typos that should have been caught in the first proofreading. It's repetitious, egregiously repetitious. It's very repetitious. And it's more repetitious than I have just been. And look, all self-help books can be a pamphlet. This one could have been a paragraph. But all of that is to say, as an idea, it's pure gold. And it's not an idea that you don't know, but sometimes you have to be reminded things over and over and over again before you can have them as a truth. And it was the last nudge of many for me to get my visions for my businesses and my life in the next 5 years sorted out and start programming my subconscious for the future, which is actually the reason that I mentioned the ChatGPT prompt in the intro. And so you might want to read it, you might want to not. It's a terrible book, but a nice reminder. The guy seems legit, but it is, I just can't even tell you how poorly of a book it is, poorly written. It's like he had a weekend and he had to knock it out, and there was no going back. Anyway, I left this one in here from last week. So it's The Residence. It's a TV show on Netflix called The Residence. I left it in here. I'll just read what I said last week. I'm in a season of sculpture, and when I'm sculpting for hours each day, I listen to music instead of podcasts. That is true. I've been listening to a lot of music. When I'm sculpting, I just kind of need something to lock the back of my brain in and not really think. In fact, the truth is I did listen to Heather Sager's podcast while I was sculpting, but I was sculpting a thing that I didn't need to think about it. It's just kind of some work that had to happen. But my wife and kids and I watched the first episode last week, the second episode earlier this week, and the third episode last night. And if you like whodunits, like Sherlock or Knives Out, you will love the show. It is so good. And you know, kind of like how Wes Anderson movies, Wes Anderson leans into all that is his Wes Anderson, and like each Wes Anderson movie is almost more Wes Anderson than the last one. It's kind of like that in a way. Yeah, super duper good. Such a good TV show. And I'm always like, we don't watch a ton of TV, so when I find a good TV show, I love to share it. Okay, here we go. What I am thinking about this week. So I'm thinking a lot about comfort and the easy way this week. We spent last weekend at a resort in the Ozarks. It was just a few days to mark the end of the school year and take a bit of rest for the summer. In fact, my kids' summers are so busy, and that's their own choice. It's not our choice. They're so busy that this was literally the only weekend until the end of the summer where we could leave town. And they just have so many things conflicting over the top of each other. And it was the first time that we had been to this resort. We just were like, hey, let's go do this. I've heard good things about it. And it's, you know, it's close enough that we can go there, stay for a few days and come back. And we had a lot of fun. We played laser tag. We played mini golf. We walked around. We paddle boated. It was so much fun. But we don't need to ever go back there. And the reason is we're fairly active people. I mean, my kids are kids. Kids are just active in general. And my wife and I we want to go do things and walk there and look at things and climb things. And that's our idea of fun. And we realized halfway through the weekend that the resort is designed for people who, let's just say, are not predisposed to being active. For example, the cave tour, which I love caves and sinkholes and all sorts of geological phenomena. The cave tour could not be walked. It's a 2-mile tour, golf carts only, at $45 a seat. The resort navigation preferred shuttles and cars to the point that it was often hard to get places on foot without getting in the way of cars. And I mean, it wasn't that big of a resort. One of the coffee shop attendants, when we were at the coffee shop, asked how to walk to the marina, and they gave us directions, like a 20 some odd year old person, not 30, between 20 and 30. They gave us directions, and then she said, it's a long walk though. And we're like, okay, well, I think we can probably handle it. It's not going to take all day, is it? It took us less than 10 minutes, and it was an absolutely beautiful stroll full of wildlife. Like, we saw 20 turtles and a huge snapping turtle, which I don't know if you've ever seen a snapping turtle in the wild in the Ozarks. They look like dinosaurs. Their shells get all kind of covered with algae and stuff. It's amazing. It was so amazing. It is a 10-minute stroll, a leisurely 10-minute stroll. I could have sprinted it and been barely sweating by the end. It took us a day to realize that this was all intentional, that most of the guests likely wanted the easy way. And so the resort was designed to delight them. And that's fair enough. Like that, they're doing a good job of catering to their audience. Our bad for not realizing that this wasn't our place. And I mean, I guess when I think back to the people who were there, I'm like, yeah, this is what these people want. But here's the thing. People are forever trying to give you the easy way out. And it is a slippery slope. Preferring to take the golf cart for a 1 mile trek will eventually mean that you have to take the golf cart for a 1 mile trek. People are designing this world so that you never, ever, for one single second, have to be uncomfortable. I mean, seriously, sidebar, that's what social media is. Nobody ever built anything unless they got painfully bored first, because building or doing anything is hard, and you will only start it when boredom is painful. Like, nobody's going to get good in an instrument unless they're painfully bored, right? Social media is keeping you from being uncomfortable with your boredom. Always. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Do not. The grass is slippery at the top of the hill. Don't slip and tumble all the way down. And I don't mean to be dramatic. And I know deeply in my own journey that rest and recovery are part of growth. This isn't a, hustle, bro, work hard, play hard, kind of diatribe. It's not what I'm saying. I know that rest and recovery are part of growth, but there is life in the struggle, and there is only a speedy decline in the easy way. You are either climbing up the hill or you are slipping down it. And you can either choose the pain of growth now or the pain of decline later. You don't get to choose both of those. And, some would say, my dad, in fact, at his 80th birthday said that growing old is just learning to tolerate pain. And I think the only choice you get is which pain you want to tolerate. The pain of, what's the word for it? The pain of neuropathy in your feet because you didn't ever exercise and now you have diabetes and you didn't ever eat right, and so you hurt all the time, legitimately hurt? Or do you want to prioritize the pain of exercise to the point of exhaustion because you know that will stave off the decline? You get to choose which pain. And that made me think of this poem that I loved when I was young, but I don't think that I understood it back then. And I think I understand it now, but I also bet that my 80-year-old self disagrees and thinks I don't understand it. And I bet you know what poem it is. It's Dylan Thomas, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. I am going to read it to you now because I think, he's talking to his father here, but I think we should be saying this to ourselves. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me, no, with your fierce tears I pray, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So that's Dylan Thomas. And it's just a delightful, poetic reminder to all of us. And look, I have decided, I think I knew this ahead of time, but especially this week, I have decided that I am going to rage until the last moment, until the absolute last moment, when, if I have the courage to, which I hope that I'm working on now, I will accept the ending and be curious about the beginning. But until that moment, until the sand, the last sand is slipping through the hourglass, I am going to rage. I am going to push back. I am not going to ever accept the fact that this body is declining and I am missing a bit of it. And oh, geez, oh, it's terrible. Oh, well, you know, it's not as young as we used to be. No, I am not going to do it. I am going to rage and I'm going to be curious. And I would encourage you to do so as well in a way that is true to yourself. You don't have to do it with all the energy and testosterone and enthusiasm that I do. You do it your way. Let's be fellow ragers, pushing back at the Wilford Brimley in Cocoon, who is 50 years old and looks like he's 90. Or I'm going to be a 90-year-old sprinting up the stairs. Rage. I am going to rage. I encourage you to rage. And I think the only choice is the pain of that struggle or the pain of the struggle of decline. And that's it. I'm going to step off the soapbox. I hope you have a spectacular week. I hope you are doing the things you need to do, pushing yourself in the ways that you need to push yourself so that you can grow. Because I have said it before, there are only two trajectories, growth or death. Have a great week. Oh, the punchline for the dad joke of the week. Gosh, I almost always forget. What do you call a priest that becomes a lawyer? A father-in-law. If you think you can do better, members.4kweeks.com, put your dad joke in there. Maybe you'll see it in here. Have a great week.